and Nalini. This is chapter 9, part 3. Alright. Shaking his head, Atomus said in a serious tone, so unlike himself, "There are some things that cannot be helped, and my father did not press me on the matter, and the figure that I could not or would not take them with me. Only Vicos knew the truth of the matter, and alas, my reader, some things are better left unsaid, though those years the desire was growing deep inside of me. The desire to return to where I belong. And one day I chose a selected group of my best elven singers, and I asked them, 'Do you remember the rituals with Kashmir, Azu, and all? What does that have to do with your song, sneering at me? Oh, we're going to defeat our enemies with music.' And another one added, 'I'm still skeptical about the whole singing thing. I mean, it works for you because you are you, Nalini.' 'Would it kill you to have a little bit of blind faith?' I snapped angrily. 'Yes, it would kill us to have blind faith in you,' commented Canon, who went to the scene. 'These elves are not your toys to play with.' His review left me rather sulky, mostly because it was not far from the truth. Indeed, I was just playing around with them, and for some reason I had a feeling that this thought tugging at the back of my head. Yes, their song could resonate with mine. And as I said, well, repeat after me. With the thought of action, the elves repeated the sound I made. Ah. Again, let your sound crush all doubts, hope, and hesitations, louder. And then they screamed even louder. And we practiced our war song for a whole week. And when I was satisfied with the process, I had them sing it without me, and for pharmaceutical purposes, as my mother would sometimes say, we tested the effects of their song in a nearby human town on the outskirts of Nemorensis, and as usual, I led their song to see if it would have the same effect, the same frenzied effect it had on the elves, and what the humans decided to do was to overturn their governor. And luckily, what the governor wanted to do was run away with the maid, and needless to say, he left his home with his lover before the coup occurred, and when the song ended, everything returned to normal. And naturally the leader was angry because of the raid, and still he was angry at himself for falling victim to the same frenzy as the plebeians, and it took a few executions and about 100 in order for order to be restored in the nearby human town. And whenever I would head out with my choir master, Canon would say the same thing, "Having fun with your little puppets?" And it took about a month for the chorus masters to replicate the effect without my intervention, and when they did manage to trigger a 1-minute frenzy, they came to understand what the elves sang. The next song I had them learn was the Song of Peace, the Song of Control, and the Song of Vengeance, and that was the rest of the repertoire of songs for the choir back home. And back home we used to combine music with battle, and via the choir's music we were better able to synchronize our efforts, and we would also influence the minds of the enemy. And if I could get the elves to master this basic, then over time they would be able to add more battle sounds to their repertoire. Still, even I must admit that most of the time I was just making things up as I went along. And when it came time to integrating the chorus with the elven warriors, things broke down faster than I had imagined. And the way warriors found the singing distracting, and to make things work, I had them switch places, and I had the warriors learn their song even though they lacked their magic and mind control powers. Most resisted out of sheer stubbornness, and the singers wanted to control the warriors, and the warriors did not respect the authority of the chorus master. Since they were led by dark elves, and none of them seemed willing to cooperate for the sake of the whole. And to make them understand, we traveled to the outskirts of Veragerum. Time, bro?
10 minutes.
A foolish group of knights had worked out the courage to invade Veragerum, and their army, if you can call it an army, had only 50 knights. And based on the intel, Beresame and his golden horde was out of town, and the knights were led by a man dressed in a platinum armor. And against such a small force, the Berserker elders had chosen to get rid of them quickly, and the guards on the 2 dragon towers left their posts, and suddenly, the realistic-looking dragons started to scroll around the tower and started cracking, and their scales glistened emerald under the sun, and their manes cracked lightning, and the twin dragons had one blue eye and the other white, and they were 2 stories high and 25 yards long. And the knight leader said, "Have faith, men, we shall die today." And indeed, they didn't die. And the knights separated into 2 units, each of 25 men, each of them to handle one of the 2 dragons. And as it always happens with twin dragons, you had to strike them in the same spot at the same time in order for the blow to register. and like made it steps and twisted around the truth, and used to one side of battle, the armies dodged swiftly the strike with it, almost as if they knew that when the dragons were gonna pounce. And Caspio asked the obvious question: how do they do that? Are they all mind readers like you? Get over yourself. Mind reading only works when there is a mind to read. Those dragons had lost their will, and they have become more akin to animals, and they fight with pure instinct. Plus, all dragons are magic, and even the fairer ones. And what makes this night so tough is something else, I said smiling. And that something is 10% improvisation, 30% experience, and 80% cold, dumb luck. Those fools fighting the dragons are as blind and as lucky as their leader. Still, blind luck is what keeps you alive, and the influence that the leader has over them is pretty similar to the songs I have been teaching you. Look, not armies are the same, and each leader has his own unique style, and the mini army is being driven by faith and dumb luck. And Besame's crew is governed by fear, and our motley crew has been driven by pride. Or by fear, I fancy sometimes, I explain. Again, we return to gazing at the battle, and the two men of the unit had gotten smashed by the dragon tail, so not mortally wounded, both were out of commission, and it took five of both teams to drag them away from the dragon, and with fewer men, the battle took a longer toll on the army, if you can call it that, and suddenly over the wall, 500 berserker archers had assembled. And now not only did they have to contend with the beast, they also had to focus on blocking the shower of arrows, and the berserkers in a battle to adjust their aim during the fight, since all of the arrows that struck the dragon simply bounced off their tough hide. And the unit that were retreating with the two wounded got flanked from behind by the berserker squadron, and based on my reading, the berserkers had taken an underground route that led them outside of Veragero. And from that route, they were able to easily flank the invading army. About in his game, Amir said, I don't want to watch. And just when seeing as there was, the leader stopped dodging the arrows and began to ignore the menacing dragons. As this transfixed, he raised his sword to the sky, and for some reason the rain shallow of arrows did not strike him, as if the archers suddenly had developed by aim. And mostly only grazed him. And seeing the change, the dragons focused their attention on the leader, and they seemed hesitant to strike, and mostly simply bared their teeth at it. Are you done?
7 minutes.
I said to my companions, avert thine eyes. Oh, Heavenly Father, I humbly ask for your assistance. Deliver us from this plight, said the fighter, and his blade began to glow like the cold winter sun, and his soldiers used to the side cover their eyes. Sensing danger, the dragons turned to stone, as they can usually do whenever faced with a real threat. And the berserkers who stayed to watch the resonating light were consumed by light, and in no time the night outshined the sun, and just as quickly the light faded, and the night too had vanished from sight. Is it safe now? It's safe now, I said to my companions. What happened? Most of the berserkers turned to stone, and the knights are gone, commented Odilon. Peter's a sorry, to be more exact, I corrected. How did he do that, Asamir? Who or what is he? He's a prophet, I said. They are a rarity in this day and age. They only come about once every 200 to 300 years, and most fell into obscurity without doing anything remotely memorable. Oh, like Lemire said, casting us to meditating a little. You're not too far off the mark, I said, shrugging my shoulders. It was a habit I had picked up from Vicus, and after watching the battle, we made our way back home, and during this trip I kept thinking a lot about the elves and the prophet knight. He really was quite an interesting fellow, and from what I was able to gather, the prophet knight and his army were testing Bersame's fortification. And some had even managed to sneak inside, and the prophet knight had faith that Bersame was going to die soon. How soon was still a matter of debate. Still, it gave his men the courage enough to try reconnaissance missions in Veragero. After all, it wasn't an easy task to fool a berserker. When we returned to Nemorensis, I was disappointed to see that the elves were still not getting it, even after seeing a real battle with proper teamwork. Time, bro?
5 minutes.
The individual pride kept them from working together. One night, Vicus made his usual attempt to speak to me. He saw me frustrated over the elf's lack of profit, and to cheer me up, he gave me a narcissus flower, and then he crushed it in my hand. And grinning, I said, I think I understand. And the next morning I said to the elves I was training, I'm going to give you a royal beating. Laughing, Canon said, this ought to be good. The natives of Nemorensis and the fairies gather around to see the commotion, and my trainers looked at me bewildered to see if I spoke the truth. Laughing, I said, "Ready or not, here I come." I generated my old flute, and when it played its tune, I summoned the form of 1,000 crystalline knights, and I chose such a diet for my toy soldiers for the effect and rather for any practicality. And I could feel the leader, Alpha, sneering beneath her crystal helmet, and her sweet revenge was just beginning. And as expected, the trainees fled in terror, and one another they became victims to my loyal knights. And my sweet Alpha took care only to beat them to within an inch of their life, and when night fell, the residents of Nemorensis healed them. The next day I asked him, "Do you get it now?" "You psycho bitch," snarled Amir. Gritting her teeth, Kashmir rebuked him. "You fool, trying to anger someone that can easily squash us like bugs." The father of Major smiled at me, showing that they finally understood the reason behind such a painful exercise. "The others," I said, "you still don't get it, do you?" Again I called for my knight, and this time I only summoned only 995. And the Dark of Mages did not even bother to run away, since they knew that they were no longer my targets. And the same routine was repeated for about a week, and during that time a good number of the people became convinced that I was simply wanted to give them a good old-fashioned combat training, and all expanded on the lack of teamwork. And whenever there was any real conflict, they simply fled or used the youngest among them as a shield. Indeed, they had found no compulsion about throwing each other under the bus if it meant achieving their goals. I feel that the majority of them had not changed at all. Timber?
3 minutes.
At the end of the week, I said to them, "You think your longevity makes you superior? You are just as fragile as any normal man. And remember, even in Nemorensis, deficits, and I got tired of the games, and you already know the basics. You figure out the rest for yourself." Alright, and that's the end of that chapter. Bye bye and God bless.